Hi, so this is a quick tutorial for Westerly High School's Writing Lab. If you go to the Westerly High School webpage and go down the left column of resources, we have our own little Writing Lab page that you can check out. And after clicking on here, the first thing that you'll see is a list of teachers that are staffing the lab for each period. And it's important to know that we are available for meeting with you one-on-one, meeting to go over plans to perhaps come into your classroom and work with you, work with small groups. You can send students to lab. So we really are here for you and whatever your needs are. And I just kind of wanted to give you a overview of what the Writing Lab page has to offer as well. We have a couple of discussion topics that you can be a part of. No one has yet, but feel free to. I want to get into the files because these are sort of the more important and useful things for you immediately to put into use in your classroom. So the first thing is the Writing Lab request form. Kind of just shows you how you can sign up with us. You can either email this to us or submit it, or you can do it a little less formally. It is important to give us a heads up because we do get booked for classes, and we can get booked for classes up to 3 days in a row. So it's really important to contact your Writing Lab representative when you know you're going to need us. So essentially, you can check your areas of need, and this is just a way to figure out kind of for us to think about what your needs are. We can review our modules and think of other activities that we might need to do for your specific needs. So you would check this off, but then follow up with an email or a meeting that is more precisely involved in what your needs are. So you can kind of just see a couple: revision, grammar, how to use student-teacher models in instruction, using rubrics for both instruction and assessment, improving writing directions, designing a lesson with a writing process, Common Core, and SLOs. So these are some things that you can do. We do ask that you describe your request, the objective of your request, and to give some context. The data reference is important as well. Similar to an RTI referral, it's important that you can use these types of things to sort of justify why you need us there, and we will be on our way. So that form is really a wonderful way of kind of focusing yourself in. So let's look at a couple of teacher documents. You don't need to necessarily schedule us either. You can, if you know that you have a need for pre-writing, you can click right in the pre-writing folder, go into the overview, and each module group has an overview, so that lists the objectives and targeted skills for Common Core. And then it gives a brief explanation of each of the modules that you can access yourself. So if you're looking for a free writing activity, or perhaps you want to do a little more focus on mind mapping or concept mapping for your particular discipline, something that works really well with like a science class or maybe culinary or something like that. Mind mapping and concept mapping is a great way to pre-write. Clustering, sketching, collaborating, questioning, outlining, and then a little more sophisticated particle wave field approach. So if you read through those and you know, oh, I kind of want to check out the mind mapping and concept mapping module more closely, you can go back into the files, find that, click on that, and then I'll show you how it's set up as well. So each of the modules looks the same. It has our motto, the title of all of whatever that section is, and then the module title. So essentially, the teacher modeling of targeted writing skills is the first section that you'll find. It gives you the purpose again, gives a little bit of explanation about what this particular module is, key points, examples, what you might do. Then you move into student application. These are possible handouts that you could copy and paste or modify for your own needs. with examples, and then also resources. So this is essentially how these work. These are not necessarily made for just stock printing out and handing to students. These are more targeted for teacher use, and teachers can then adjust these particular modules to fit their classrooms. And of course, Writing Lab representatives are able to help you with any of this, clarify whatever you might need. So that's an example of a module. So using these, our goal as a Writing Lab is to really get you all and us to be more confident as writing instructors. And so that's one way that you can do it. And then finally, there's a section for student documents. This is kind of getting bigger and bigger as we continue to put things in here. But in here, the student models, we're going to continue to put in student models and also encourage teachers to send us student models of the work that they do in their disciplines, so that if you wanted to send the students to this page and they needed to look at the example of a senior paper, a proficient senior paper, they could do that. You can also use these models in your classroom. There's a module for that as well. So that's an awesome way to use these Writing Lab documents as well. And then finally, some of the student documents here are handouts that we as English teachers have made. So if we look in revision, there's nothing there. Let's look in pre-writing. So pre-writing, maybe framing your research clusters, you would open this up and you would see an example graphic organizer to use with your students. So again, this is still getting bigger and bigger, and hopefully this year will bring more documents and more organization and more independence for teachers to use these documents on their own. So if you have any questions about using the Writing Lab, please contact any of these people: Miss Petrofis, period 2, Miss Barnhart, period 3, Mrs. Tallardy, period 4, Miss Pucci, period 5, Mrs. Fazzaro and Miss Cersei, period 6, and Mrs. Oliveira, period 7. Thanks so much for listening.